All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Anchor of the Week. It's your girl, Courtney.
Oh, it's your boy, Zacho. Come on. I like that.
Yeah, trying something a little new.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, yes, and welcome back to another week of our series on the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
Technology, the internet, what's going on with it, and what we're going to do about it,
Yes.
basically.
We have cheeky episode today.
It is cheeky.
Yeah.
It is spicy.
It is. It's good. I don't want to say it's politics, but we are going to.
But it's politics.
But it's politics to a certain extent. And then, yeah, it's simplified politics.
Yes. Obviously, like, these are topics that we've kind of touched on before in other episodes of the podcast. And it's nothing that, like, it's not that people aren't talking about this, but the age of misinformation, question mark, that
Yeah.
we're in, are we? You tell me.
Yeah.
Misinformation, information, disinformation, all of these different things. It would be so, like, amiss of us to, like, do a whole series on the internet and not talk about this.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about how that is, like, on a micro level, like in our personal lives, but also the big conglomerates on a huge macro level, and the role that our governments play in this.
Yeah.
Oh, spice.
Let's start with obviously we've been talking about Facebook and how we're all on there, and we've already discussed a lot about the influence of Facebook and what that has, but
Thank you to the Facebook files for
revealing
inspiring
that to us.
this whole series.
But actually, the government have a bigger role on Facebook than I think people are aware of.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people think that Facebook's over the government, you know, but it's
the government make some decisions. Facebook actually go to the government for certain things. So and it's very I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if we're gonna read the articles or we're gonna just go.
I'll read the little. So obviously, guys, if you didn't know this, the Wall Street Journal is the one that posted about the Facebook files.
Yeah.
With Frances, I always forget how to say her last name. If it's Howen, I think it's Hoffen.
I don't want to guess.
Every single time I
go.
forget, and that's being a bad podcast.
Oh, whoa.
Guys, just give me a moment. I will return. Anyway, I was saying I should know how to say her name at this point in time of the series. But so in the Wall Street Journal, they kind of broke it down. They wrote articles about all the different points of the files. Well, they created the points. But so this is from the Wall Street Journal, based off of Frances's documents that she leaked to the journal. But it says that Facebook's internal chat boards show politics often at center of decision making. I'm like, duh, of course.
Yeah.
But it says Facebook employees and their bosses have hotly debated whether and how to restrain right-wing publishers, with more senior employees often providing a check on agitation from the rank and file, according to internal documents viewed by the journal. The documents, which don't capture all of the employees' messaging, like obviously the disclaimer, didn't mention equivalent debates over left-wing publications. Other documents also reveal that Facebook's management team has been so intently focused on avoiding charges of bias that it regularly places political considerations at the center of its decision-making. Facebook says it enforces its rules equally and doesn't consider politics in its decisions. Well, I think that they're lying.
Yeah. Basically,
Like,
the government are running the things that we see, kind of.
well, because here's the thing. They are doing that right now in the real world.
Yeah.
So, of course,
They want control over the stuff on the outside world. Almost.
And something as influential as Facebook, where we receive all of our information. You know, it's this whole idea, and we were talking a bit about this before. Like, if you lined up all of the different newspapers in your area, there is a spectrum, and you can place them on where they align left to right politically, right? Left, center, right.
Yeah.
And of course, social media is the same because that is just it's like another news agent, if you will, that provides us with information. So I don't know why Facebook said,
That
it doesn't get political because
it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are we, it's interesting because then how much of that has influenced our political views or our views on things that are going on in the world, if the government are the ones controlling almost what we see and are shown to us,
Also, a little disclaimer as well. We're not there's two when we talk about politics or the government, I feel like there's two very opposite ends of the spectrum. One is overthrow the government. The other one is do everything that they say.
Yeah.
And it's fine. And we're not going to tell you what to believe, but we're just going to make you question what you believe.
Yeah. I think kind of the main message from today, just before we carry on into this, is like critically thinking about like what you're actually taking in and seeing. And basically, is the stuff that you're seeing like actual truth, or is it real? Is it fact? Is it real? Yeah. Oh, do we ever cross-check things, which we're going to go over later?
Oh, yeah.
You know, things like that. Just like being a little bit more mindful about, I guess, intentionality behind what you're looking at even.
Exactly. And understanding like the people that are influencing what we see and that they have a bias. Everyone, we talked about this, you know, a couple series ago about having agenda, you know, like what is your agenda?
Yeah.
Everyone has an agenda. And so if someone is especially higher up in power trying to make a profit, their agenda is getting more profit.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know if we can see anyone that's been a good example of someone that's like high in power, you know, in like our current day and age that is doing it for the good of the people.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
If you know someone like that, please, I would love to interview them, right? Like get them on the pod.
You know, so who decides then kind of what we do see? I mean, what is obviously the government and stuff, but if it's not the government, then who else would it be? I guess would it just be individual people and it's just our thoughts on there literally?
But are our thoughts our own thoughts as well?
Misinformation,
like how, exactly. How have we been, like what have we been feeding ourselves to like train what we've been thinking?
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's not saying that like, you know, burn all your books and your like technology and make up your mind for yourself, but it's like, have you ever wondered why you think about something a certain way?
Yeah.
Or have you ever tried to see it from someone's perspective, you know, to your friends, or even like, how would someone on the other side of the world view the same situation? And you realize it's probably very differently. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And we're seeing that a lot with COVID. And yes, we will be talking about COVID, ladies and gents. So buckle up your seatbelts.
I mean, briefly, yeah. Well, we are. We will bring in the conversation.
We will. But even like when you're in a country that has certain rules or like restrictions, and a different country in the other side of the world has their rules and restrictions, but you're in your bubble. Like, this is what it is. This is life. But someone might have a completely lesser restriction somewhere else, and that's okay. That's good for them. Or like, do you know what I mean? Or like even worse, but you don't think about that because like it's just so like
so many variables. Yeah.
So many variables. And I think a lot of times we just accept that what we're living and what we see, what we're receiving is just it's truth, I guess.
Yeah. But how do we figure out what real truth is then? You know, if that's the kind of big like misunderstanding that we have currently.
But that's the thing is that, and we've talked about this again in other episodes of the podcast, but it's worth mentioning, we're living in a time of relative truth.
Yeah.
So like as a society, we're saying there's no such thing as like absolute truth because everyone's entitled to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But then if you're entitled to do whatever you want or to believe whatever you want, then there's no such thing as fact.
Yeah. Oh man.
So
yeah, I mean,
like I don't know what to.
I don't think we have the complete answers even for this, but I think.
And that's a thing of this podcast. It's not to give you answers. It's to create discussion.
Critically thinking.
To critically think.
I really like that little phrase.
That's a good one.
Should we see what they say about COVID then?
Yeah.
I mean.
And by that you mean Facebook, I'm sure.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Or Meta.
Sorry. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Interesting that. Do you think Facebook partly changed their name when they did? I mean, they were probably thinking about it for a while. I mean, I don't think they just pulled the metaverse out of there.
So. Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you think that they like rushed it ahead because they just wanted to disassociate from the Facebook files? Because meta files doesn't really have a ring to it.
No.
No? Okay. Well,
I don't know.
That's just a corny conspiracy.
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah. I feel like they had been planning something like that for some time.
Whatever. Anyway, number 5 on the Facebook files, on the meta files. And basically this one's titled How Facebook Hobbled Mark Zuckerberg's Bid to Get America Vaccinated. Just that in and of itself.
Yeah, that alone.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
How Mark Zuckerberg, one man, decided, let's get America vaccinated.
Yeah.
Just interesting wording.
Keep going.
And again, we're not aligning here with anything.
No.
We're just reading fact.
Yeah.
But I think we all remember Facebook's ads about COVID vaccines and everything, and like the little like things that come up if someone like posts something.
I've not seen much of that, but I'm also.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I wonder. No, but that is interesting actually though, because
Because I wonder if it's more
I've
like
heard it
your
was a thing
demographic.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, or
I
like
think it's more to do with my demographic and what I'm looking at, and because what you're looking at is very different, and I know the algorithms have things set up for
algorithms. Yes.
a
The
whole
buzzword of the day. We're gonna see how long we could say or not say it.
Anyway, yeah, carry on.
But basically, right, and I like follow people, and I'm real life friends with people that are on either opposite end of the spectrum, that are pro and that are anti. And a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, most of the time, all the time is what I should have been saying. That someone like said something that was like anti, like either COVID or vaccine or a certain restriction or whatever it might be. There was always a thing that says like, this post includes misinformation. Click here to see. Like,
Interesting. Ooh.
Right? And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Who decides that?
Who decides that? And you'd say, well, science does. But where is the line of science and opinion?
Yeah.
And freedom of speech, which is interesting.
Yeah. And whose opinion?
Exactly. From this one, it literally says right there, it's Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
You know. But what's I think fascinating as well is that not only is it just like it's not just like, okay, like this like includes like misinformation, but it's this whole idea of like almost like fighting to be seen. It's like like the side that Meta decided not to align with, even though they're saying that they're being politically neutral.
Yeah.
It's like it's oppression in a sense of our freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But then you have the other side. Well, if I really have this conviction that that is misinformation, are we allowed to oppress that misinformation?
Right.
And forsake freedom, like, of speech?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, what is the line? You know?
Yeah. And like how much of that like side of Facebook is actually manipulating our thoughts, and is it a case of, I mean, I don't know exactly what it says, but it's like they say they're neutral, but they'll probably push one side more than the other. So
well, clearly,
so maybe it's a case, maybe technically they are being neutral in terms of the information that's out there, but they're pushing one more than the other, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like technically they could be like neutral in terms of...
Could be neutral, but I mean, what the files show, right, was that there are a lot more in like intentionality of trying to like stop like the right wing extremists, but nothing on the left. You know what I mean? Again, wherever you align politically, it's fine with us.
Yeah. It's just the fact that they're pushing one over the other.
Exactly.
And their idea of like, this is true, this is not, this is misinformation. This is
exactly.
That's what our struggle is, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, we're not telling you what to think, but we're just asking to think about what you think.
Yeah.
And it is interesting because, okay, misinformation, right, is when you get the facts wrong. Information is information. You count it a fact.
Yeah.
Misinformation is inaccurate facts that are being spread as if it were a real fact. And then you have disinformation, which is like rightfully so, like spreading like misinformation, but with like harmful intent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think most people can say, okay, disinformation, like, well, I mean, we'd actually never talk about disinformation.
Well,
I was going to say it's easier to see that in maybe more like countries with more visibly corrupt political and economic systems and things like that.
Because if someone thinks this is genuinely right and they genuinely, like, for example, Facebook genuinely thinks everyone should get COVID vaccines and stuff, that's misinformation rather than disinformation, isn't it? Because they don't realize that that's not harmful.
But even is that misinformation? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure. There might be, I guess, right? Or
do you think this is partly due to how much we love our own opinions? And like, if I believe it, I mean, I guess it goes back to relative truth. If I believe it, then it's true.
Yeah.
If I decided this is how I want to live, then it's going to be true.
Yeah.
And so I think literally as we're just verbally processing through this now, trying to make sense of it, have we are we labeling someone's opinion as misinformation? Because we have this view of I'm always right. So then if you're saying your opinion, you must think that you're right. And I mean, we don't share our opinions if we don't think we're right.
Yeah.
But Do you know what I mean? It's like now all of a sudden kind of like, are we even mislabeling what we think is info or fact?
Yeah. Well, information is fact, right? And it's actual like bulletproof almost.
Which would be like, there are 4 people in this room right now.
Yeah. Very like.
There are.
Clear and obvious. Yeah. Yep. Shout out to the crew at the back.
Our 2 crew.
Yeah. But like that is information, isn't it? Anything to do with how you're feeling or your thoughts on a matter. I don't know if you want to label it as misinformation, but it's just an opinion and it's not.
Yeah.
It's not information. So when you share it like it's information, then
this
it's
might
information.
be where we get. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what is? It's a very, very strange. Oh, I was gonna say something too, and I forgot it.
Oh man.
Oh.
Information, misinformation, disinformation.
Feelings, thoughts, truth. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we
dive into? Yeah. Perfect.
Look at that.
So obviously that's kind of like the government's role, and that's a very kind of bigger picture, which we will go back to a little bit later on. But just to bring it down to maybe everyday life a little bit more.
Because it is so easy to look at it and be like, oh, it's this huge thing of it's our government and Facebook's problem.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to not try like show anything or like share anything that I'm not sure is like true.
And I will say like, I was one of those people where like politics chat and all that kind of thing. I not that I was against it, but
you kind of were.
I was more like, I don't understand how this directly influences us. And so for me to have a fallout with someone, and I think that's where I still kind of stand a little bit stronger, but it's like for me to have like a fallout or a kind of like clash of opinions and whatever over something that big and something that I didn't feel like at the time was as influential on me. I was kind of like, I felt that was really pointless, but I think we have a role in this.
We do. First of all, very proud of you because when we became friends, this is not how you thought.
No.
So very proud. But interesting what you said of when you have a clash of opinions and you said that leads to fallout. Because we are like losing what opinion actually means. Opinion is a way that you view something, a way that you think about something.
Yeah. I think the opinion wasn't the issue. It's the way you communicate the opinions.
Yeah,
that's where the fallout happens.
When you realize what an opinion is and that's the way you view it. So if you have your opinion, someone else is like has their own opinion.
Yeah. But I still stand by the fact that like it shouldn't, you know.
No, it shouldn't tear families apart.
Or, you know, all the extreme things that have happened past year.
No. A lot of extreme things that, we're not saying I'll join hands and go kumbaya.
No. But I think that we do have a role in this is basically where I feel like I've changed. You're proper proud of me, aren't you?
Just gave him a high five if you're listening on Spotify.
You're proper proud of me.
Proper proud.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So we took it to our own social medias as well as the Anchor of the Weeks.
Yes.
Which if you don't follow, you should go and follow at the Anchor of the Week.
Look at that. A mid show plug.
Yeah. Anyway, we just asked people some questions and we just wanted to get an idea of kind of, I don't know, what people think and where they're at with this. So
we asked 4 different questions, okay? And this was split between my social media, Zach's, and also the Anchor of the Week. And we went from small to big, kind of.
Yeah.
In the way that we consume things and fact and information. And our first question we asked was, do you ever wonder if what your friends post on social media is them being real or not? Yeah. Because we want to just like look at if we're just taking everything at face value.
Yeah.
And we probably shouldn't be doing that. So.
Yeah. What kind of answers did you get? Like in terms of votes, yes or no?
Well, I got 68% said yes. They do wonder if their friends are being fake. And 32% said no.
I had 70-30. Isn't that mad?
That's mad.
Wow. That's so close.
And I think on the Anchor of the Week, we got 100%. So.
Oh, nice.
Did you get any comments? Oh, I got some comments on that one as well.
I didn't get any comments. Mine was later on, yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to compare ourselves when we see what others are doing. Classic, right? And then you start to second guess.
Yep.
Someone said it depends if like I know them personally or like in their everyday life, right? Because you see them, the struggles, the real, the high.
Yeah.
Which you would think that, if you know them personally, you'd have more grace with them. But I feel like it's the opposite.
Yeah, it can be, I think, yeah.
Like, oh no, I saw you struggling yesterday. Like,
yeah,
don't post that like you having a great time or whatever.
Yeah.
And then someone said, even the idea of posing freaks me out because people look so different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think though, like, if you know the person really well, then you kind of know what is real and what's not. So I feel like you're just aware of it more when
Yeah.
you first see it. People that you don't see as often, I feel like you instinctively just kind of like, oh, that's like,
Oh, good for you.
yeah, like that's what
Double
they're up
tap,
to. That's,
scroll.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, you don't think anything
Yeah.
more, you know?
Yeah. And for
interesting.
the people that voted no, they do not doubt whether their friends are real. Either A, you have amazing friends. Or B, think about that.
Yeah, it could just be that.
Yeah.
they don't
And so
know.
why are we talking about, like, we just talked about how, you know, like Facebook is politically aligned, and now we're jumping into, do you think your friends are being fake on Instagram?
Yeah.
Why have we come to here, Zach?
Why? I feel like, well, it's just like we want to critically think, what are the things that we're seeing, and like the stuff that we're taking in and consuming, I guess, maybe, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but like, is it real? Is it them being genuine or not, you know? And is it this idea of like, I don't know, because...
Is it misinformation?
Yeah.
If your friend...
But again, I mean... Yeah, that word is a...
It is such a buzzword right now.
It is, yeah.
I want to make sure we don't,
I feel like misinformation, yeah, I think maybe that's just the best way to put it. But when it comes to people's lives and stuff, I think it's more just like, are you seeing real honesty, or are you seeing a true representation of their life on social media? I feel like platforms can be used, and this is something maybe we dive into in a minute, but like your social media platform can be used however you want it to be used. If people want to be creative and artists and stuff like that on
Which
there,
you got a comment about that,
yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah, we did, yeah. I mean,
Was it for this one?
It was for something else.
Oh, never
later
mind.
on. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later.
But you know, you can use the platform for something else. So in all of that, it's kind of like sometimes it's not them being real, but
they never intended it to be.
No, exactly.
They never intended for you to take it as fact.
Yeah. So we on the other end need to be looking at platforms and, you know, and again, like you post what you want people to see. So it's very like, it's kind of like Mark on Facebook controlling kind of what we see in terms of like the ads and the stuff he wants to promote and stuff like that. We're promoting the good sides of our life. And
I just thought of something that is literally tiny, minuscule, but is what I was thinking about earlier.
Go for it.
Is that in one of the news magazines that I got a free subscription to, did not pay for it, but it was great while it lasted. They're like, Facebook had adverts in like paper, like news magazines that says like, we are like we're on it with COVID misinformation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. In like a paper advert.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Interesting.
Controlling what we see. Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah. See, it's so easy to say, oh, Facebook does it, you know, or they censored my post or whatever. Yeah. But also we do it because we're trying to control what people see of us.
So it's kind of like, so when we say like Facebook does this, blah, 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 it's true, but we do as well.
Facebook is an exaggeration of human nature.
Yes.
So
it really is though. Like it's just at a larger scale.
Exactly.
Our hearts, but on a larger scale.
Yeah. Ooh. I sounded like you when I did that.
Yeah, you did a bit. Yeah.
Anyway, question number 2.
Yeah.
What was question number 2, Zach?
Do you ever think about whether what celebs or influencers post is fact? Did you word yours slightly differently?
I said, do you ever think about if what celebs/influencers post is fact or not? I don't know if either of these are grammatically correct.
No, but
this was late at night when we made this.
But also, like, you have to fill in the spaces on Instagram. It's hard to fill a proper question in.
Dear Mark Zuckerberg, if you're watching this,
please change this.
Even though he's not the head of, no, it's Adam Dorsey that's the head of.
Really? Wow, you know names.
A read.
Anyway, what did you get? Well, okay, I got 88% yes and 12% no.
I got 85% yes, 15% no.
That is interesting.
Very interesting. So people seem to have a greater understanding, or like, that like celebrities and influencers are more fake than my friends.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
And then we asked a question. Right? Oh, you had something different actually, didn't you first?
Hold on. I realized that I got some answers to that one as well.
Oh, go for it.
Yes. So this is about the celebrities influencers. Someone said just they're distracted by the glamour and sometimes they forget that it's just for show. So that goes back to what we were saying about that.
Yeah.
Our former cameraman Daniel said, have they been told to post this or do they actually care? When you are a brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're getting paid for things, it's kind of like
Speaking of getting paid for things, everything is for profit. So everything you read in the news.
Yeah.
Ayo. Also, my favorite one, and this goes out to Amelie Denise Santos, okay? They be fake and want money so they don't end up on Dancing with the Stars.
What was her middle name?
Denise. It's my... I'm not going to give all her information.
Yeah.
We just had last week's episode about protecting ourselves online.
And there I am asking a middle name.
If you want to know her social security number, just write in the comments. But so people are like, oh no, celebs, they fake. Like they're putting on a show for the world, right? So that's interesting.
Why is that? Why are we more aware of that when it comes to celebs and stuff?
I think because we have accepted that they're here to perform for us.
Yeah.
Like we understand that they are our entertainment. You know, you don't follow an influencer because, you know them and you wanted to see what they're up to.
Yeah.
It's because you entertain me. I like looking at your content. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Performing.
It's performing, but.
It's a whole nother ball game.
We perform.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And
just smaller.
We are going to dive into that in a minute, but yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Any other?
And then, no. So the next question that we ask, which Zach did not add to his story, but we will forgive him, is how often do you cross-check news/information sources? And we were given 4 options: always, sometimes, rarely, never. If I'm going to be honest, I lied about my answer and then felt convicted and couldn't change it.
And here you are.
And here I am sharing it for everyone to hear.
Well done.
I said sometimes because I was like, I should be doing it sometimes. Honestly, I do it rarely.
Yep.
Like, because this is cross-checking. This is not doubting whether you right? So, and it's not like a lot of times I'll read a news article and I'm like,
is that true?
But is it?
Yeah.
Then I put my phone down and go make dinner. I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? But not the actual cross-checking, going out of your way to see other people's perspectives.
Yeah. Which
is what we're all about here on the Anchor of the Week.
Yeah. And I put never because
that was very honest.
Well, I don't. I mean, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Only for like sports stuff.
Yeah. What's interesting.
There's a message in there somewhere. But
yes. So according to this, our top one was B. Most people said sometimes. The next top answer was always, which is interesting. And then rarely and never were tied with the lowest amount of scores, votes.
Yeah. I mean, if people do that, that's cool. Yeah.
Honestly, that's so good. And that is a big thing, because what this whole thing is about is like, are we actually critically thinking?
Yeah.
And so those 3 people on my story that said always, you are critically thinking.
Done.
Good job.
Fist bump. Right. And then we had a little question box.
Oh,
I think you worded yours slightly different than me. But if everyone has their own truth,
quote unquote truth,
quote unquote truth, then how do we decide misinformation? Mm-hmm. That was my question. Was yours the same?
I said, how do we decide what is misinformation? So little grammar changes there.
Yeah. Anyway, did you get any interesting answers?
Yes. Got a few. Also, both of us had people DM us, send us direct messages because it couldn't fit everything into the answer box.
We love that.
We do love that.
Love that.
Yes. We want to be conversation facilitators, do we not?
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. Again, Daniel, our very simple, practical friend, said, who gets to decide misinformation? It's not your truth. If it's not your truth, then is it misinformation? It's true.
Yeah.
I got some, depends what it's for. For news, I'm looking for cold, hard facts that are undeniable, not vague. But when it comes to truth, I don't know. I still look for some degree of facts. I'm Christian, and while I know that God is bigger, or so much bigger than facts, I still find that he's a God of clarity and not someone vague. And I really like that answer.
Yeah, I do as well.
This comes from one of our very practical friends. Who's all about them facts.
What a ledge.
But I like that. It's clarity. It's not just knowing, it's having clarity on things. Yeah. And a lot of things are vague. And so we're told, oh, that's misinformation, or this is true. But it's all very kind of like, oh, it's this and kind of this and sometimes it's this.
Yeah. But wishy-washy.
Very wishy-washy.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I had, so one lad put be directly connected and receive the information firsthand, which I think is really interesting because then it's like
Boris, Mojo.
But it's kind of like if you don't receive it firsthand, then can you truly believe it, kind of thing, which is interesting. Like
it is actually, it's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
It's very skeptic
it is a bit
perspective.
skeptical. I mean, I don't know if that's what he was intending, but that viewpoint could be very skeptical.
Yeah.
But it's also very kind of like,
But it could be good.
you truly know what's right and wrong kind of thing, Another lad just put, you can't, which is
It's true.
simple, but also, kind of cool. I had, make sure we have a clear distinction between facts and opinions and beliefs. Everyone can have their own opinion, but they do not trump reality/facts. But
Interesting.
again, what is factual, I guess?
Yeah, I had someone else say like about intentions. Like, if you like, can you trust like the people's intentions, like to lead you to truth/misinformation, which I thought was interesting as well. And it kind of goes to like, if you don't hear it firsthand, or if you don't know the person, or if you don't know the situation, can you trust it? Yeah.
So I had a comment. Someone was just talking about one of the questions that we put, and they were just saying, I think not everything has to be quote unquote real. In a certain way, it's a great platform to play a role. So this is kind of what we were talking about earlier. But everyone has to know that, so they don't fall for perfect illusions. Also, everyone has to test themselves. Why do I put on a show? Is that the only way I like myself? If yes, then you should work on your life first before posting, stuff like that. And just talking about like, just acting isn't necessarily lying or not being real.
Yeah. And I love that perspective.
So do I. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like I don't like go to Instagram or to TikTok to see real gritty truth all the time.
Yeah.
But it's when it's like the whole idea of filters. It's like, oh, if you're using a filter, that's fine. Like, show me what it looks like, whatever. But if you're trying to be, if all your like videos or whatever have the same filter, I actually just found someone. She's cool. Like, I like her stuff. She's a tattoo artist.
Yep.
But she always uses the same like beauty filter.
Right.
And like I'd come up on like a few different things. And so I tried it on and it made me look completely different. Like I got my lips and my everything was like so different.
Sure.
And then I went back to her page because I was enjoying her content. And then I saw every video had that same filter.
Right.
And then I realized I don't know what you look like.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, so it's kind of you're receiving it as fact, as information. And there's nothing wrong with her using a filter per se. But it's that whole kind of when it's not clear or it's not clear.
It's just how you receive it, right? I think like.
Well, yes, but there's also responsibility to be
There is,
open.
yes. Yeah. But like, especially on the topic of kind of like critically thinking about what we are taking in.
Yeah.
I don't think everything has to be real. I think it's just like an understanding that our kind of social media platforms and stuff like that, like, is it really a true representation of them, right? And like where they're at kind of thing and their life really.
Yeah.
Because
and what is it being used for as well?
And just making sure you look at people's accounts, understanding like, oh, this is like just what they're showing me, what they're, and performing isn't bad, but it's kind of like, it might just be like an artistic account and they're just wanting to put on this type of impression or idea through their content. And it's not a true representation of themselves necessarily.
Exactly. Something that someone else like wrote to me in like a DM was that sometimes people are too quick to give out their trust to sources online or people in their lives without taking the time to question. And I think that it's trust as well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean with that?
Yeah.
And I think trust, I don't think we use the word trust yet.
No.
But
no, we haven't. Yeah.
No, thank you. But like, do you trust a person, but also do you trust that everything that you're receiving, like, but again, it's not necessarily with information. Like, do you trust? Because trust is like, the assurance or whatever, like that, when you go to this account, you're seeing someone, I don't know, portraying a character.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, how skeptical do you want to be?
Because we also don't want to become skeptics. I just very dramatically bash my face into the mic. Sorry, Lucas, who's going to edit the sound of this one.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, because we don't want to become skeptics. We don't want to become like negative or cynical with like the term, oh, we're just being realists, like, no. Like we still believe in hope and we still believe in the good things. Yeah. But I think that we've kind of gotten things a little too mucky, if you will, as society. Someone else said she was generalizing, but she said discerning truth and misinformation can't be reduced to educators and ex-Google and Facebook employees. Looking at you, Francis. telling the general public to always check your facts and sources because simply and unfortunately it's impossible. Because I could see something, and this is where we can maybe even talk about like the algorithm a little bit. I won't go on for so long about this. But like I'm checking something, and so I'm going to cross check it. And if I'm not very intentional, like where I'm cross checking, I'm just going to see like the confirming information, like confirmation bias. Like you see what you're looking for, basically, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it would be way too simplistic and idealistic for us to be like, just check your sources, okay? Have a good time, kids, you know?
Yeah.
When we understand that we're like, everything is being manipulated.
Yeah.
And every end of the spectrum.
You kind of need to look at it from the opposite perspective. And
exactly.
Like, look at it as if someone's researching that.
Yeah. Almost go as if you're trying to argue your point away.
Yeah.
You know? And it's a lot of work. Literally, as I'm saying that, the first thing I think about is like, that's so much work.
Faff, yeah. Faff is the word, yeah.
But like, how like willing are we like to actually like look for truth if we agree that truth exists?
Yeah.
Do we agree in absolute truth? Obviously, from a Christian standpoint, and again, we've said this 100 times. We've had podcasts about this already.
Yeah.
We do, because Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Therefore, there is one truth. And everything that is good and pure flows from that.
Yeah.
And I think, as society, we need to kind of, you don't have to have the same beliefs completely. But if we don't agree that there is truth, then nothing is misinformation.
Yeah.
Because I can do whatever. I can be whatever I want to be.
Yeah.
You know, I could.
Yeah. Taking it back to the grand scheme of things. Funny, you're looking deep in there. But that was good. Yeah. So, I mean, again, so I think just the point of wanting to look at like a larger scale and a smaller scale. Yeah. It's happening all around us.
Yeah.
And like, let's not, like, I think something you mentioned before is like just the idea of like looking at the news and looking at stuff like this and kind of like disregarding it almost, you know?
Yeah.
Because it happens even in just the everyday and the small things, you know, on our social medias and stuff like that. And it's just happening at a larger scale up on the news, you know? So be aware. Yeah.
And are you, you know, passing on or like misinformation, quote unquote, if you will?
What's your role in this?
What's your role? Are you like being like dishonest in whether you're even portraying yourself, you know, but also are you just repeating what's been given to you without thinking about it?
Yeah.
You know, because maybe it's true. Maybe what you believe actually, on point, you know, facts back it up, whatever backs it up, God backs it up. I don't know. Like, but like, I don't know, just actually think about it.
We play a bigger role than we think. I mean, okay, classic, really silly example. It's like the Chinese middle finger. Have you ever heard of this before?
No.
You like put your pinky up and it's not, well, I'm pretty sure this is a myth, but like as I was growing up.
Are you about to offend an entire nation right now?
No. Yeah, maybe I should use a different example. But anyway, like you put your middle finger, your pinky finger? Is it your pinky?
Your pinky.
And like that was what everyone thought, like just growing up was like Chinese middle finger. But now I've learned it's not. But all my life, I've been telling people it is.
Wow.
And so like, it's like you're spreading the word. I'm like, that is misinformation.
That was misinformation.
Yeah. And so like, now if we put it in practically, like but in me spreading that misinformation, other people are probably doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, it clouds our vision of what's fact.
Do we realize the authority that we have?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we influence.
Yeah.
And we put the responsibility. Here we go again.
I know.
Take your responsibility, folks.
Hard not to go back to this level.
Right? But you put your responsibility on the people that look like they're in control, you know? And you can even say, oh, well, I'm just being controlled by Facebook or by the government or by just, you know, what this nation believes or what I'm being fed. But you do have a role in this. And I'm going to find the quote because it was really good. It was actually from church this past Sunday. Something that our pastor said was, if I can find it, bear with. Essentially, don't underestimate your authority because you don't understand your position or you don't feel like you have a position.
Yeah.
Like in
maybe
every
you don't value.
Yeah, or you think, oh, I'm not there, so whatever. Like, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. Like, you matter.
Yeah.
Like, you have authority.
Yeah. We play a role.
Yes.
Each of us. Yeah.
Or else I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. No, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
That was a lot of tangents.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap it up a bit, but
yes.
basically cross-check a bit more.
Yes. Understand the echo chamber that everyone always
Yeah.
talks about, you know,
Yeah.
that what you're seeing is what is already kind of your bias, because that's how the algorithm works. It just shows you what you want to see. So if you see one thing,
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot of it, and understand that,
Mhm.
you know, and go out of your way to see other people's perspectives,
Yeah.
which is literally what this show is about.
Yeah.
You know, is seeing other people's perspectives and like understanding that maybe, hey, like what we think is not the be all end all.
Yeah,
There are other people out there living different situations that see things differently, and like,
And not even just what we think is a be all or end all, but just understanding that not everything you see is
real
or true. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you guys so much for joining. I think we have to cut it off here. If not,
Yeah.
Zach and I could go on for
No, we
tangents
could, yeah.
for forever.
Yeah. It's good though.
Yeah, and I think that this is a really good and a key episode in this series, because as I said at the beginning, I think it would have really been unfortunate if we didn't talk about this. And
Yes.
again, a lot of people talk about it, and we have talked about it, but it is so key.
Yeah.
And to understand and to remind ourselves what we're looking at. And yeah,
Brilliant.
amazing.
Well, I have already told us where they can find
They
us.
can. Yeah.
So
Well, the holidays are coming up as
oh,
well.
Yes.
And we don't know how to tell you this, guys, but you're going to have to go for a couple of weeks without hearing our voices with new content.
Yeah.
Because our team of four, our wonderful team of four, we're all going different ways for the holidays.
We are,
And we're very international. I feel like people don't know this, but I would like to just say that we have a Canadian, a Brit raised in Turkey,
Yep.
an American, and an Argentine raised in Argentina,
Oh,
but
wait.
lived in Uganda for a
Oh,
bit.
and then South Africa?
South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
Wow. But your parents were in Uganda, right? Like recently. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Madness.
Madness. So we're all going very far for the holidays.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going that far, but
Zach's going 20 minutes, I don't know, down whatever the highway it is.
2.5 hours-ish. Yeah.
So that's so bad. But we will be back in the new year with a lot more content.
Yeah.
To be honest, we said when we were planning out this series, you know what? And then at Christmas, we'll wrap it up and start something else in the new year. But when we say we've got more for you on this,
have we got more?
in places that I'm sure you're not even thinking that we're going to go.
Yeah.
But we're going there.
Yeah, let's just, yeah.
That's it. That's all.
Just leave it there.
So guys,
Anyway.
yes.
No, actually, I really like that.
Yeah.
A bit of a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger.
Cheeky. Yeah.
We'll be continuing a few more weeks of our World Wide Web series.
Yeah. In places you'll never guess where.
In places you'll never guess. Could we be going on the road?
You said on the roads. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So,
Moving on from this, we honestly, guys, hope you have a great Christmas. Enjoy the time wherever you are, however you are.
yeah. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Remember, guys, our new YouTube channel as well. Now my brain's going through all the things we have to say.
Yeah.
Our new YouTube channel is at the Anchor of the Week. Or not at, it's just the Anchor of the Week.
Yep.
We will be transitioning from posting our videos on the Hope and Anchor Community Church YouTube. So just make sure you're already liked and subscribed onto the Anchor of the Week so you don't miss anything.
Yeah.
And we are trying our hand at TikTok. So follow us there.
Man, yeah. Got some good stuff coming.
Wait, yeah, do we? Zach looks at me. He's like, Courtney's going to post something, right?
Actually, well, I feel like we'll have some good content maybe after
Yeah.
this. Hopefully. Anyway, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, now that you guys just witnessed a podcast meeting.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, happy holidays.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
God bless.
And we will see you in the new year.
See you later.